Part 2, Ezekiel. Going on into the chapters from 25 and on. The last chapter, the Lord had mentioned in chapter 20 that Egypt, they weren't from here. And when he presented them with our ways here on earth, they were rejected. And they chose to idolize their own idols. And last time I mentioned that I don't think God was trying to tell them that they were wrong in what they know. I believe he was saying, well, you're here on earth. This is the way we do things, and let me show you so that we can live in peace. In chapter 29, he's talking about why people of Egypt will be shunned, because when they were building it for the people that dwelt in the land, they had no compassion. They worked them to death practically. And that's not okay, but we don't do that here. Second of all, going back to the land being a feminine energy, I feel the land in Israel, in Palestine, holds a certain vibration. And me being a naturally high vibrational person, people at low vibration, when they come around me, have a tendency to want to possess me. Like, my precious, Lord of the Rings, and abuse the power, because power, this is why I always talk about the dark side. If we're going to be in denial of our darkness, we're going to be unaware. And when we're unaware, it gets to our head. We start to lose the compassion. We start to lose the aspect of, I'm just like you. Quite frankly, I don't understand that, because I can never look at someone as lesser than me. Maybe lost in their journey, but not lesser than me. The land, being of high vibration, influenced people. So Tyree was perfect in beauty. As you go down, there was a reference in chapter 31, verses 1 to 14, where mankind had taken the beauty and demolished it with no intention of restoring it. After the land had nothing else to give, they abandoned the land. And that broke my heart. So, like, people buying land in space. Okay, hold up for a minute. Are you going to tell me that once you destroy this land, this earth, you're just going to, someone who's raised you, who's brought your bloodline, your generations, your whole reason you're here right now, I don't care if you were born however many years ago, whatever it is, this earth is like a second mom. It raised us. It has brought us, given us life. So for a minute here, can we just chickadee check ourselves? Think about the worst thing that's ever happened to you in life. And you had no choice but to experience that day for eternity, because somebody chose that for you. How would you feel? Not only that, how about multiple people chose that for you and didn't even think about how you felt? How about a rape victim being left for dead? Do we think that's okay? Or a pedophile taking the essence of a child? That's not okay. So, like, the earth isn't a child, but it holds an essence, it holds an innocence, it holds a nurturing spirit. And to demolish it and just abandon ship because it's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. Okay, so I never mentioned this in the first part of Ezekiel, but when I was reading it, all I could think about was, this is a chess game. And as you go on in chapter 27, verse 8, there's the word oarsman. So an oarsman, back in the 1540s, the etymology comes from man or mouse, strong or weak. And from the 14th century, An oarsman was a piece which a game was played, especially chess. So that was a synchronicity for me, hence why I'm mentioning it now. It'd be really cool if we could get animation, make those little pieces that it explains in the first part of Ezekiel from chapters 1 to 25, and put it on a chessboard and see what happens. Because to me, that's a synchronicity. I mean, I don't believe in coincidences. Chapter 29, verse 3. Oh, he said, my rivers is my own. I have made it for myself. So I think this is a reference talking about how the land is not ours. We don't own it. We don't possess. We live on it. And just like anything that nurtures you and gives you life deserves to be respected. And would you stick with someone and fight to prove your worth? I wouldn't. This earth has endured our neglect, our abuse, and still provides for us. So, when you wake up in the morning, little appreciation goes a long way. Again, I'm going to say it because, hot damn. If you want to talk about strength, this earth is that. Want to talk about love, this earth is that. I also noticed that they mention aliens in here. So we're chapter 30, verse 12. By the hand of aliens. I don't doubt there's aliens on this planet. I really don't. And if you go to the Canadian website, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, there is an alien clause in there. And in that clause, it talks about the population growing at a mass rate and how it is, there's no way it could be possible. So the distribution of aliens, it mentions, and then it mixes it in with foreigners. So it makes the clause kind of confusing. But like, if they were going to call a foreigner an alien, why would they use two different terms? Like, it should just be all foreigner or it should be all alien. There's no need to have the two unless it's two separate entities. Chapter 36, is that right? Chapter 36, verses 17. Son of man, when the house of Israel dwelt in their own land, they defiled it by their own ways and deeds. To me, their ways was like the uncleanliness of a woman and her customary impurity. So I broke it down into two words. Customary, is from the 12th century, and it's a habitual practice either of an individual or nation or community. And then impurity is from the 15th century to mid-15th century. First definition being mundane, not spiritual, immoral. From mid-15th century, the fact or quality of being impure in a moral essence. So impurity, unless referring to science and you're dealing with substance, an impurity in like metal to make something strong instead of so malleable. Impurity on a human perspective is referred to with the moral sense. And that means your moral compass, your heart. What is your heart telling you? And are you following that? That's what impurity is. That's what unclean is when someone has lost sense of their moral compass. When they aren't communicating with the energy, the guidance of what is all around us. Another thing that was mentioned, so Abraham had paid for the land, but it was taken from him anyway. And in Genesis, I had mentioned how he set an example and changed the whole tone and trajectory of our evolution when he paid for that land in front of that whole entire nation, demanding it to pay even though he was given it. I was doing Bible study with my Mormon group, and They said, well, he wanted to sustain, he wanted to make sure that that was his. And like, but it doesn't fucking matter. Like, maybe if he would have just accepted the gift, it would have never been taken. But we don't know that because we never tried that route. So how can we say that's wrong? I understand the fact of like new things, like, oh no, we can't do that, we can't do that. Or like when people talk about the way that people behave. So for instance, getting trapped on an island, like eating somebody, killing each other to eat each other to live. Okay, cool. Like, we're aware of that now. So if we want to deny the fact that that awareness does not now means that we don't have to do what's always been done. Because we're aware of that, we can do something else. How about we use that as an example of what not to do, so we have the free range of what else we can do and we can figure out another way. That has been the best motto of my life, and I'm telling you right now, knowing what not to do allowed me to discover what I wanted to be and what I did want to do and become, and the freedom to explore and create meaning in my life. Meaning that leading to that meaning, creating such a deep-rooted value in me. It's built my character. So these being not only my principles, my personality, my values, like there's connection between the emotional and the what I stand for. Like that little zap has allowed me to, this is my nature now. I figured myself out in the discovery process, and now this being who I am, nothing can break that. What I stand for is what I stand for, and when you have meaning behind what you stand for, it's that much more important because it allows you to live in alignment of your authenticity, because it's your true nature. It doesn't make you feel like you need to enforce your values on another person, but if they see and they can create their own meaning, they're more than welcome to adopt it. But it takes away that need to have a crowd. It takes away that need to have somebody to relate with, because I found so much of myself within me that the only thing I could get up and walk away from everything I have tomorrow, but I will never go against who I am. I have no problem just grabbing a backpack with some clothes in it and starting over. I've done it multiple times in my life, and every single time I've always ended up with better things, but I never lost who I was or myself. I stayed true to my character. I lived by my moral compass. I didn't need people. If I adopt other people's ways, and like in some ways I did, but I had to learn that lesson. I had to heal my self-worth. But even when you're doing that, if you have that meaning and that value created, you can do that without breaking your psyche, without giving into the darkness, because you're not in denial of the darkness. You can look at the darkness and, you know, that's what you do. Give it a head nod. You're like, what's up? How's it going? Thank you for being there to remind me of everything I don't want to be, but I'm 100% capable of being. And I make that choice consciously to not do it because it doesn't feel right in my heart. Men can have customary impurity too. It's not just women. But you know what? When a man is customary impure, he would be in a feminine energy called the wounded feminine, or the wounded mother. It's an archetype. That's why they need women who are more feminine than they are, because how the heck would they ever feel big and feminine energy? They're not supposed to be there. Hence why there's jealousy. Hence why there's the control, the sheltering, because they aren't supposed to be in that energy. It's not for them. It's unnatural. So they have to be manipulative. They have that authoritative presence of like more like a dictatorship, because it's a feminine energy, not masculine. Anywho, that's my video for Ezekiel, and ciao for now. See you on the next one. Yeah, bye.